This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, because them bulls out the pen and they about to stampede.
Right now, the Texans. So this whole storyline for the Texans all year so far has been injuries. We've been losing tons of the last 3 games. We lost Howard. We lost Scruggs. We're on our 900th offensive lineman, as it seems.
'Tis but a scratch.
But today we got some good news. Howard and Tunzel started playing or practicing. Jones is out there. Nate, are the signs looking good for us injury-wise? Are we starting to finally get to see this line that we thought we would?
What was the final score of that Texans-Pittsburgh game?
36.
I think that kind of tells you what the Texans can do, even with an offensive line that is not an A1 offensive line. Now you're going to get back 2 of your major pieces that you need, and we know these guys have great chemistry along the offensive line. I think the guys who played last week in front of C.J. Stroud, I think they understood what the assignment was: protect the quarterback. And Dameon Pierce said that a couple of days ago. I want to say Monday, he said that if we can keep this guy protected, he can do a lot of great things. And I'm paraphrasing, but we know that's what he meant. So I think anytime you can have any type of an offensive line, you have a quarterback like that, it doesn't really matter what kind of an offensive line you put in front of them. And let me preface that by saying that guys will play 1, 2, or 3 games and play them well and protect their quarterback when they know they have a top-rate quarterback. And certainly what we're seeing from C.J. Stroud is that he is a top-rate quarterback. And I'll tell you something else. I kind of prefaced this before we actually started the show. I said to you I was going to share something with you that I kind of thought at the very beginning of the season, but I think I have been proven wrong. I didn't initially think that he was as athletic as Deshaun Watson. After watching him, I'm kind of changing my opinion about that, because once he rolls out of the pocket, he's dangerous. In the pocket, he's a really, really good passer. But once he rolls out of the pocket, he can really see his receivers down the field. You see, he keeps his eyes up, and he's looking down the field to complete a pass. And he and Nico Collins, he and Tank Dell, he and Robert Woods, those guys have really established a rapport and a chemistry. And, man, it is lovely to watch the maturation process of this young quarterback, even with an offensive line that's not that good. Now, just think once he gets that really good offensive line, just how good he's going to be. So I am really pumped to see all this kind of come to fruition.
Same. So right now what the offense look like, it's Tunzel at left tackle, Howard at left guard, Patterson at center, Mason right guard, and Fant at right tackle. Before I move on to BT and Crenshaw, do you think that's the recipe for success this Sunday against the Falcons?
I do. I don't think the Falcons are the same kind of defensive team as the Pittsburgh Steelers, to be quite honest with you. And I'm going to tell you something else. Yeah. Or the Jaguars. I'm going to tell you something else. Do you know that the Texans have the 4th amount of passing yards in the league so far?
Absolutely.
1,125 passing yards. They are the 4th ranked passing offense in the league behind the Dolphins, Rams, and the Vikings. That says a lot. And you're talking about an offensive line that has suffered injuries with key offensive linemen. So, yeah, I think they certainly have a chance against this Falcons team that has a quarterback that right now is not playing at his best.
VT, I know you've been channeling your inner Matt this week about scheming fixes everything. So what's your take on all this?
Well, not only were you right about scheming fixes everything, but you were right about George Fant. He's playing phenomenally well, better than he has played in the past. He's holding his own, and I think that's why I think some people don't realize how well he's playing, and that's why people on social media are saying, why wouldn't you just put Titus back at right tackle? It's because Fant is holding his own. He's not letting up pressures. He's not really giving up sacks. And if you compare him and Titus Howard in the run blocking game, Titus Howard ain't no star when it comes to run blocking. His claim to fame is in pass protection. So you're not missing anything by not putting Titus out there, honestly, with George Fant. Now, is Titus a better right tackle? Yes. But how much are you losing? The degradation is honestly marginal. At left guard, though, because we lost Kendon Green, Titus Howard is a better left guard than Dieter, right? Now, Dieter's serviceable. Titus Howard is excellent. So I think the makeup right now that they have is a recipe for success. So overall, I think we're good. I think that's going to change again once Scruggs comes back. Once Scruggs comes back, now it's going to be a decision on, do you keep Patterson at center? Do you put Scruggs at center? Move Titus Howard back to right tackle, move Scruggs at left guard, and then you put Fant on the bench. So I think that right now for this game, this is the right line. Once Scruggs comes back, they're going to revisit that.
Okay. Crenshaw, what's your take? We know you're a Tunsil hater, so,
Yeah, I think this is the right line, and I think Juice need to earn his spot back. I don't think you should just put him on the offensive line, until these guys show that they can't, make their blocks, they can't do this, can't do that, leave it like how it is. Now, what if, Thompson come back and Howard come back and they start giving up sacks? What are we going to do then?
Well, let me just say this. There is going to be a disruption in the quality of the O-line because you can't just snap your fingers and plug and play an O-line. So don't expect that we shouldn't see some degradation of quality in the O-line performance because these guys are just coming back in. So if they give it something their first week, it is what it is because they have to get back into the groove. O-line is one of the position groups where chemistry and the bond that you have between all five guys is critically important. So we might not see the best O-line that we've seen in the past 2 weeks. I know that sounds crazy because we have elite players here, right? With Tunsil and Titus Howard. So expect that we'll see some issues, but that's 1 week. Now, if we see that, 3-4 weeks, then you got a cause for concern. But if we see it in 1 week, it's okay. It's really honestly on schedule to happen that way.
Well, like the first 2 weeks, we were 11 sacks. We're predicted to give up 119 sacks throughout the whole season. Everybody was hitting the panic button, and I was still saying, scheming works, guys. Scheming works, and so yeah, Big T's right. You're gonna have to give it a couple weeks or so. You might get a sack or two, but you never know.
Well, if I might jump in there, first of all, if you want to look at a team that has problems, look at the New York Giants. That's a team right now that has problems along the offensive line. And I think what we need to make sure we're doing is giving praise to Bobby Slowick. Yes. I think he really understands what he has in terms of talent, what he has in terms of the offensive line, what he has in the backfield. Dameon Pierce runs hard. And I know that I said this one morning on the show, blasphemy, for me to say that Dameon Pierce runs as hard as Earl Campbell. But I want to tell you this, he is a smaller version of Earl Campbell in the way that he runs the football. Earl Campbell ran over people. Dameon Pierce doesn't necessarily do that. He's not as big of a back. I can't really compare him to Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell, Heisman Trophy winner, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, all that. But I will say this, that Dameon Pierce as a running back does help. You always have to have a good blocking tight end. That helps along the offensive line as well. But that offensive line that they have right now and the game planning and scheming that Bobby Slowick is doing for his quarterback, I think he understands what he has with C.J. Stroud. You really have to give him a lot of credit in what they've been able to do with the makeshift offensive line guys.
You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.